Hey, we're going to finish up our angles concept, the discussion on angles in this lesson. We're going to talk about complementary and supplementary angles, and then a special type of supplementary angle that are called linear pairs. So complementary angles are two angles, and when I take their measures and add them together, they will add up to 90 degrees. And we'll see that in two ways. One way we'll see that is if they don't share a vertex, and that's what we call non-adjacent angles. So these two angles, 43 degrees and 47 degrees, add up to 90. So that means they're complementary, but they don't share a vertex, so we call them non-adjacent, but they're still complementary. Sometimes we might call them complements of each other. If these are adjacent angles, it'll look something like this. It means they come together and they make a right angle, which is 90 degrees. So even though we don't know the measures of these two angles, because they are adjacent, meaning they share a vertex, that vertex, and they make a right angle, they're complementary. Supplementary angles are two angles that add up to 180 degrees. So two angles, if I take their measures and add them together and they add up to 180, then we call them supplementary angles. And again, we can see that in two different ways. They can be non-adjacent. So these two angles are supplementary because 97 and 83 make 180 degrees together. Or they could be adjacent, meaning they share the same vertex. And that's where we talk about our special supplementary angle pair, and we call them a linear pair because when I put them together, we have a straight line down here. So the vertex is common. They share this vertex. I have two angles, this one and this one, and together they make a straight line or a straight angle, which is 180 degrees. So they are a linear pair and they are supplementary, so they are both. And we will see linear pairs, angles that add up to 180 a lot this year. So just like with vertical angles and angle bisectors and angle addition, we can apply this knowledge of these angle relationships, and we can use them to find how big an angle is. We can do some algebra. So here's a good example. I have these two adjacent angles, and they add up to 90 degrees. I know they add up to 90 degrees. They're complementary because of that symbol there. That's a right angle. So my angle 1 and my angle 2 are complementary. They add up to 90. Sorry about that. So today I'm at home and I'm still getting interrupted while I'm recording. I plug in what I know, and then I can just do some algebra like we've been doing so far for the last few weeks. I'm going to find that x is 8. So everything that we're doing is just taking something we know about geometry and applying it to create an equation, and then we can find our unknown, which in this case we want to know what x is. Here I've got some given information. I have two angles again, angle 1 and angle 2. I want to find x, and we can see that our angles come together to create this straight line. So angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. They are a linear pair of angles. So I can add them up and set them equal to 180. Plug in their values, and then do a bit of algebra. And I can find that x is 23. And so I asked you for x in the last two, and of course sometimes I like to ask you to tell me how big each angle is. So I could plug x back in for an angle 2, and whatever I get for the measure of angle 2, when I add it to 93, it should add up to 180 degrees. So pause the video at this time, and I want you to use this information in this picture and find the value of x. So I have another picture where I have angle 1 and angle 2, and together they make a straight line. That means they form a linear pair, which means that they are supplementary, which finally means that they should add up to 180 degrees. I just plug in what I know and do some algebra. So I get the value of x to be 21. So I just have two you-do problems for you. Make sure that you go below the video, click the link, submit your two answers using the Google form, and then bring any questions or concerns or confusions with you to class so that I can answer and help you.